lifesaver. Excellent. Excellent. Absolutely. Oh, that's good. Well, you said that, but you helped get this thing moving, so. For the love of God. It should say live on YouTube, and why am I not seeing anything?
Go back to the Zoom.
Go back to up here, you mean? Up here, Zoom?
Wherever the screen was for the Zoom.
I have Zoom here, start.
Yeah, that'll be in the center and next to, all the way down on the toolbar.
Yeah.
And then you see the little Zoom logo all the way to the right on the apps.
That thing?
I
No.
think if you click on this,
Yeah.
it'll pop it up.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. Then you should be able to click on that and you should be good.
So got it?
Yep.
Congratulations, Owen, you got your job.
Owen! Is it live?
Do you want to pull up YouTube and see?
I would.
Okay,
I really would.
let me turn my phone.
I am not confident. Please, it's obviously it's YouTube and then Borough of Plex Summit.
Okay, just give me 1 second.
Absolutely. There's a little thing that showed it was live and I don't know where it is. I don't want to click on anything though.
Well, Jen, anybody at home, would they be able to see it if it's not
That's what he's
on
checking.
from YouTube?
We're figuring that out.
That's what
right
we're
now.
seeing right now.
Okay.
He's just putting it in to see if he can get it on his phone. I apologize. I know there was a
Yeah,
little.
we're on.
We're good.
Oh, we are?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we are ready, Jerry.
Leave me to it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Need you more than.
I know, really. 5 of 7. Em.
Good evening and welcome to the Borough Park Summit Special Meeting, March the 27th to 2024 at 7 p.m. In attendance, we have Ms. Lopez. Present. Ms. Simro. Present. Ms. Keeler is absent and active. Mr. Baskin.
Here.
Mr. Mitchell is absent. Mayor Kelly is on his way. Mr. Guzza.
Here.
Mr. Shields.
Here.
Mr. Solicitor Prola.
Here.
Okay. We don't seem to have any public comment. We do have, our future junior councilman that if, you'd like to take the podium and any council members that may have any questions for you. We've all had your resume, which is excellent. And I myself have no questions other than we're ready to vote, you know? So, would this be a voting issue too? I mean, we could do it at the next meeting. but
Yeah, we just put on the agenda. Yeah.
We could have it the first thing on the agenda and then sit right at the table. then. Okay.
I mean, do you want to tell the council anything about yourself or any reasons why you're interested in the position or?
Well, I guess I'll answer that one. I'm interested in this position. You know, I do my best. This community is a lot for me and I do my best with, you know, volunteering here and there. I'm, along with the potential junior councilman for the, borough, I'm also the junior school board rep for Abington Heights.
Oh,
And so, this is just another way that I would like to give back for a community that's done a lot for me. And I think this is one of the good ways to do it.
well, we need more people in the borough like you that would come forward like this. Thank
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
We're extremely impressed with this,
Thank you.
so we'll get on with our meeting if nobody has any questions.
Just one question, what grade you in?
I'm a junior, sir.
You're a junior.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
She grades behind me.
Yeah. I just got out of school a couple of years ago.
Very soak in the way our meetings go, so.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you. Okay. So the next item is our Ransom Township Police issue. So, we had a meeting with Ransom at 5:00. Our solicitor was there, Frank and myself. And, we went over the entire contract, everything that, the one glitch in it, which, we all agreed was a little bit overboard, and this was done by Attorney O'Brien, was if they, did the 3-year contract and wanted opt out for the next 2 years. In the contract, it said they would have to pay $50,000 a month. It looked like a typo error, but this is what they picked up on, and this is what, it confused them, so. We said we would be willing to, certainly go along, well, I could actually let our solicitor explain, because he knows all the legal ends of it, so.
Sure, so they had, their two major holdups were, them signing, having some input in when this officer is gonna work, what shifts, because they want to ensure that they were covered. So they wanted to have input, so
Right.
Chief Yarns was also there. He said that's not a problem, as long as they have input, as long as he has notice for, the shift they wanna work, that Park Service is not gonna be impacted negatively by an officer going there at different shifts, so that was not a problem. The only major hangup was, it was, the term of the contract and then any sort of damages that would be paid. So they had an issue with the 5-year, they were more comfortable with a 3-year contract,
Right,
with the option to extend it 2 years. And then they had an issue with the damages that were in place, in the initial proposal. So those were their two major issues.
Yeah.
Everything else, I believe, we kind of hashed out and were able to, get resolved. So the one issue that's still kind of out there, that seems to be the holdup for this going through on both sides would be that the term of the contract as well as any sort of damages on the back end. And, just like the council as far as what you're comfortable with, on any sort of damages if you want including that, if any. And then the term, how you like that worded, and what term you like.
So they want to lower from 5 years to 36 months.
Correct.
And they want to lower the damage part. So, because if there's a breach, then it would be, we wouldn't have to like prove the damage, it would be stipulated to agree to. Did they come back with a number that they thought for damages if they break if they break the contract in the first year, then we would get, 24 months of damages at whatever we agreed to. Did they have any term in
They didn't have
mind?
any term prior to the 3-year. If they broke within for 3 years, they didn't have any sort of proposals for that.
Yeah.
Their issue was after 3 years if there was that breach. So I'm not sure how council's.
But they-
My thoughts, I think, on that is we're spending a lot of time, resources, training an officer. Why don't we meet? I guess it's not really in the middle, but why don't we look at 4 years possibly, and then damages if they decide to opt out afterwards.
well, we were thinking about that too, Steve, the one thing, if we did a 5-year contract with them. The costs go up every year, but if we do the 3-year and they opt in for 2 more years. And there is an increase, then our increase, they will pay an increase too, so. That's a benefit to the borough, so we were kind of looking at that part of it too, so. But I mean. We probably should have some kind of a clause in there, here that, if they should break the contract, I
Yeah.
agree
No, we
there,
don't-
that could be an issue too,
We don't want to have to try to establish damages, because that can be a difficult thing. We don't want to be in litigation over this, because litigation is an expensive proposition for us.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're the ones who are gonna be stuck holding an extra police officer
Sure,
if
yeah.
we don't have a need for him or her.
Mhm.
Right.
I mean, that would be my concern, like, okay, they decide, oh,
Yeah.
no, about 3 years, we're done, we're not renewing, now all of a sudden we have another officer that we need to probably more than likely let go.
Or even before that, I mean, if they decide that they just don't want to do this, or they want to go with another department, or they want to do regionalization with Newton, then they can just, then we're kind of the ones with the short end of the stick.
Right.
So that'd be, maybe we could ask for more money or something like that. I just.
Well, the thing too is, they have a very bad taste in their mouth for South Abington. They said it was different when Chief Garrity was there, but they said no, but, I don't foresee them hooking in with South Abington.
Jerry, if I can say something, you, I think, would agree with me that the difference between the 3 and 5 year contract, I think that's more up to them what they're comfortable with. I personally think a 5 year contract is better, but I don't think that's a deal breaker. I don't think that's a deal breaker. Everything else seems to be falling in place. The union has agreed that no senior officer will be covering ransom. That was one of their concerns. So the union signed off that no senior officer will be able to buy it for that time. And there was, and we haven't even talked to Ransom about this, and that was the $50,000. Which is a little excess. I mean, that's a little bit.
Well, 50.
A little, that's,
One,
50,000 a month, which would have been more than our contract.
I can understand, I think what Joe O'Brien is saying is we want to be, we need them to be serious about this. This isn't an opportunity for them to try us out. And if they, in 12 months from now, they don't like what they're doing, they can break the contract
right.
and write us a check for, or, litigate it. And then we're stuck with a police officer we can't use. And that's,
Right. Are we willing to lower the fee at all? Are we
I
willing
think
to go a little bit lower than 50,000 a month?
Oh,
Or no?
but that, even the chief, he was very surprised with that.
yeah,
He
so
didn't realize it was that.
That's an egregious amount of money.
Is that invisible?
Yeah,
No, that was accurate. I just think that is incredibly high. I understand we want them to be serious, we don't want them to stop holding the bag, but that is.
They were very adamant in our meeting today that was a major sticking point for them was the damages clause.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
That's where
Maybe
they feel.
if it was a set amount of money, I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure what the number would be that council's comfortable with, but that might be a little bit more easy for them to chew if it's a set amount of money or there's something more in place that covers the borough where we're not gonna be stuck footing the bill and out
Right.
money if they opt out after 12 or 14 months. So I'm not sure if that's a number that
no,
that's what they come up with. But that might be a little bit easier because that was the major sticking point today that they had. So
If that's the major sticking point, I think we can discuss, we're willing to play ball and.
right now, I think
Agreed.
Virginia we came up and said it was it's about $140,000 for the, I don't know, maybe.
for a year.
For a year for the police officer, but I know there was additional costs with the vehicles and
Sure.
all that type
Right.
of stuff. And I think it was a 15% administrative fee. So it was around like 20,000 or 25,000 we added on for the borough. And that's where I think it was about 160 for the first year. And then after that, it would be based on how much additional costs there were. So, I mean, if we could, 50,000 maybe is too much, but maybe it's maybe a number, I don't know. But I would definitely want it to be a substantial number.
Well, enough to replace the officer that would be scheduled there anyway. Is that?
Yeah.
Feel too, Bob?
And additionally, and funds for us going forward if they break it too, because because the money is not just gonna be for that, the term of the agreement, but additionally, because if we have this officer, we're gonna have to keep it, we're gonna have to,
Oh,
we're gonna
exactly.
put the bill without any money from
We have
ransom.
to pay him whether he's over there or here.
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
Do we know what Josh Mitchell was comfortable with? Just that he was so involved with the others.
Yeah, I just got this text from him today, but we'll certainly bring him up to speed on.
So then
how-
realistically, we just need to make sure that we're covering the expenses of the police officer.
Exactly.
So if we're somewhere around that ballpark, I think we're fine.
I would think so too.
The 3-year thing, I don't feel comfortable.
No.
with 3-year at all. I'm not voting for 3 years.
So what are you gonna vote for?
Yeah, 5, 4.
You want 5 or 4?
At least
What's
5.
the-
I mean, 3 years is nothing. that we're gonna,
This is like kick the can.
they could easily just walk in. It's not worth the risk for us. I mean, at the end of the day, that we're playing with taxpayer money for Clark Summit people.
Right.
Yeah.
50% administrative fees, just not worth potentially having another full-time police officer. They're expensive. We don't have funds laying around to just cover.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Should they want to, leave the contract after 3 years, so you wouldn't be adverse to them giving money for the, for the finality of the contract, the remaining 2 years.
No, I think if we have 5 years.
Yes.
And then they have an incentive to stay in it for 5 years, and if they do breach it, and they have a right to, if they don't like how things are going. They'd be willing to compensate us and make us whole for having that police
For
officer.
the remainder of the 5-year term, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if we could,
I mean,
they
that's- that
want to
seems
put more
fair.
money up, then maybe we can do less time, but I think at least 4 years in my
Well,
opinion.
I mean, if that clause is in there, I don't know, but, as long as we're made whole, I think,
Oh, yeah.
And I just think the idea of having an extra.
Yeah,
police
yes,
officer-
I know.
I know we all want to have full-time
Yeah.
police officers, but it's an expensive proposition.
Well, I would think if they void the contract, we should be compensated.
And it's not a question of trying to establish damages. All we would have to establish is they broke the contract. And that's why you want to have the damages defined, so it's not a question of.
Right. I agree with that.
So we're not litigating the issue of
Yeah.
what this police officer costs the borough.
And that would turn into high cost. and
Litigation
That
expense.
comes along, yes.
We don't want that.
And
Right.
with that 5 years, are you saying that you also want, the opt-out for us would still be 3 years?
I don't, that's a Josh Mitchell term. He's the one who brought the 3 years up because I think he has thinks that there's a potential for a regionalization. And he wants to be able, if we do regionalize, to do it separately without having to have a
Yeah.
contract with Ransom. I don't know if regionalization is, I think that's it's a nice idea, but I'm just not sure how close we are to that happening.
Cause I know we did our contract with Clark Screen, first, I believe it was like for 2 years. And, then when we were gonna renew it, the cost went up quite a bit. So they are the ones that wanted to do a 5-year contract. Because then they wouldn't have to buy it, renew it and worry about costs going up a lot more. So that's why we thought, well, if they do the 3-year and then cost really escalate, then, they're gonna have to pay, they would end up paying more. If we do the 5, it's gonna stay the same.
Yeah, the only difference-
It's a juggler.
But the only difference with the Ransom contract is we will have to hire a new one. Clark Screen was not, there was not that.
Oh, no.
Commitment or an outlay on our part.
No one was hired, okay.
And the thing that Chief pointed out today too is he said, Harry, we have a policeman that is from out in Ransom, knows that territory, and is willing to take that, so that, in itself, they know they would have to pay for it when he's on vacation. And, it seemed like they were very negotiable about everything pretty much. They didn't, the 50,000 is what really spun them off, but.
Well, and what they indicated was they were either open to a 3-year term, with an option for an additional 2 years. They'd be okay with that if the penalty was not in place, the penalty to liquidate damages.
Yeah.
The 5 years they were okay with, so long as there's an option for them to opt out after 3 years. So they're very focused on that 3-year number, it seems like.
Yeah,
That's where, again, that's the main holdup, I think, is just this one section in this proposed contract. Everything else is fine, but
sure.
the term of the contract is their sticking point at this point.
And Ransom is a long way out there. I mean, you have Newton, which is pretty sizable municipality, and then Ransom, which is past that. I mean, I do worry about, us spreading ourselves thin, and also making that financial commitment. I don't know if we really need the money we would be making as the administrative commission on this, so.
I just,
What, Frank, what was the population out there, did you say?
It's very 1,500, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say
1,500.
versus, ours is 5,000, so.
But we're all we're kind of concentrated in a single area. They're big. It's a big.
Exactly, yeah,
geographically, it's a big-
yeah.
it's-
Well, you know what, let me say this again, the difference between 3 years and 5 years. That should not be a deal breaker. When we went with Clark Screen 7 years ago. We didn't think it would last, and we're into our 7th year. As far as hiring a new police officer, Bob, I hear what you're saying. But I just think that once we get a contract with Ransom, I think it'll stay there because there's so many pluses for them with this contract. You're getting a police officer who lives in Ransom. So this young man's gonna already be familiar with the area.
Right.
I am willing to take the risk of 3 years because in all 7 years that Clark Screen has been with us, I have never had a complaint ever
Right.
once. They've always been happy with us. We do have a good police force. I mean, there's no question there. We have an excellent police force. And I just don't think we could just throw this away. They are our neighbors, they're looking for our help. As far as the 3-year police officer, I hate to say this, but the worst case scenario would be a layoff, and that's that is common. That's everywhere you go in the working world. So if we had to let a police officer go, then that's the end of it. But just to stop this whole process over contract time and what are we gonna do with the police officer? Well, the answer to the police officer is simple. If they don't keep us after 3 years, unfortunately, someone's gonna have to get laid off. That's just the name of the game. And it's 3 years, 5 years. I would, if I were them, I would go for 5 years. That's what we've always done with Mascaro, is we always took the longer term because now our budget is set. And we don't have to worry about increases for, I don't know, usually our contracts with them are a long period of time. And it's always worked out better for the borough. So that's, I don't think that one's a deal breaker to me either, is just letting it go because 3 years down the road, we may have to lay somebody off. I don't have a crystal ball, I can't tell you that.
We might be regionalized by then too.
I don't.
Jerry, I honestly feel this way, and that is, on both sides of the thing, South Abington is, I don't think you're gonna see that, because, there's too many people who, always see too many problems in that. I wish it would, but you know yourself, you've been around
Yeah.
for a while, you see, you know what it's like, everybody's got a problem with something. So, but that's I would try it. We have a police officer, doesn't work out. He has to be laid off. 3-year contract, 5-year contract. I don't see where that's has that big of a bearing on anything. 3 years is also a long time. I'll probably be worm food by 3 years. Sorry. I had to do that one.
Drew, could I ask a question? Sure. So if we were to enter into a long-term contract for 5 years and they had the 3-year we can see how this goes, we're getting out of trade and financially, we're reimbursing the remainder of the contract, 5 years. I don't think that's a bad deal for us, I don't think.
If they had the option to opt out after 3 years along with us.
Well, if we propose a 5-year contract and if they, like, you know, they will assuage them in the sense that they want to be out perhaps maybe in 3 years, well, then fine, you're out. But you're gonna have to pay for the remainder of the 3 years. And this number, this 50,000, I guess that's accurate.
That's accurate in the proposed draft.
Well, that should be a windfall for us in the event that that would happen. I would think.
50,000 a month.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
That's what they're not going to.
that's.
Oh, they want to
Yeah,
agree
they're
to that.
against
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that they were like aware of that.
No, I think that was just picked out of the air by somebody, I don't know.
Well,
50,000 a month is a huge-
I do believe, I do agree, and I think Bob said it too, is that should they exit the contract,
Right.
they're gonna have to suffer some kind of a consequence.
Well, yes, they're going to have to,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to make us whole, but I think
Which will
50,
motivate them to stay for 5 years.
well, Mayor, I think if they do decide
Yeah.
to leave and the $50,000 a month is ridiculous, but if they made us whole as far as the expenses, then we don't lose them. But 50,000 a month,
So are you
they
saying-
they're our neighbors, you gotta remember
Right.
this is our neighbors.
But you're saying, are you comfortable with nothing, like 50,000?
No, they would-
50,000?
50,000 is too high.
Just make it lower.
If they can, it's true, you can jump in
Right,
anytime you
right,
want,
that's
if I
what
was
I'm
not
saying.
using
They're
road.
okay with that.
If they were to make us whole, if they dropped out and made us whole where we lost nothing, then I agree with that. I think that works.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could lower the 50,000 if they're agreeable with
Right.
5 year. I
Right,
mean, that's, I think,
That's fair.
from what everything they've said is, right now, they have state police coverage, so they have police coverage now, so they really don't need us. We're gonna be supplementing the state police coverage. They have, you know, there's only so many state police officers or troopers, they're out of Dunmore, they're not real quick, but they are available and they will be there to, you know, provide service to them. They supposedly have all this money, I mean, so it's not a real question of financially, if they can do this or not.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a little at a loss why they seem to be negotiating this down to 3 years and wanting all these terms and stuff like that, unless they're really, you know, I want to say it, they're not really that serious about it. They're gonna give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, sorry, Clark,
Then
some
more stuff.
more stuff. It's kind of the equivalent of, if they were really, I think if they were truly committed to it and they would go for that longer term and, you know, maybe change the 50,000 to a lower amount and then we could maybe do something like that, but. You know, the 3-year term and the lower amount is that's just screaming to me. We're looking for ways to get out of this and not have to pay you as little as possible.
Well, what if it was 25,000? Like, do we win then? Like, would we be covered? If
Yes.
they were to turn around and drop out?
Yeah, 25,000 a month would be, that's substantial too. That's.
I think it needs to be something to give them to think about. And that, like, you break this, you're gonna pay.
That's correct.
And I think as well, the ultimate thing is, we have to look at what it's gonna cost us to add this police officer on, add these services on to our police force and budget.
Right.
What's that cost gonna be? Because that has to be covered at least, and then if there's additional for all the work that's being put into this. And this police officer going out there, that has to be looked at as well, so I'm not sure what that number is on
Right.
either a monthly or yearly basis, I think it's something we can look at in the budget and determine. But so long as we're covered, I don't think 5 or 3 years really matters.
Yeah.
As so much as the damages part, because the damages is what we don't want to litigate this, should they breach the contract? We want in writing, we want firm, we want very, very clear as to exactly what the number is gonna be that they are gonna pay. Should they breach this contract before the 3 or 5 year period? I think that's.
That's how I feel too.
True,
I'm
the
comfortable with 3
Virginia
years.
would have no problem at all running the numbers for what it would cost. In case they did drop out, what the dollar amount would be, she can do that. But I'm not comfortable with $50,000 a month.
Oh.
They are our neighbors, we're not trying to burn them. You know, this can be worked out. I don't see any big obstacles here. I don't see if we have too many police officers, one can get laid off. If it ever happens, didn't happen with Clark Street, we're on year 7 now. And 3 years, 5 years, I might be missing something, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but
As long as we don't take a financial hit.
as long as we don't lose money, that's all,
People
yeah.
in the town
Yeah.
don't take a financial
Yeah.
hit. You have a contract
Yeah.
and they know that if they break this after 3 years, they will be obligated to repay for the remaining 2 years of a monetary amount. I'm not sure what's the proper
Right.
number. But,
What
you
did
know,
they say today, Drew, that they want the 3 years, but as far as the 5 year, I mean, I know they didn't want the 50,000, which was,
Sure.
but, they wanna do the 3 years option for 5, but could opt out after 3. Is that what their final conclusion was?
So they had the two proposals that they were comfortable with today was 3 years with an option for a second year is okay, so long as the penalty is off the table, which I think is not good for the borough, because the penalty being off the table would, if they opt out after a year, we're kind of.
Oh, right, yeah.
Then they were okay with 5 years with an option to then opt out with the penalty included. Those were the two different options that I have in my notes from meeting this afternoon.
They just wanted, so Clark Summit has asked. Clark Summit has, right now in the agreement, Clark Summit has, it's a 3 year, but we can opt out after 3 years. That's what they want to do. So if they want to make it a 3 year contract with an option for 2,
Basically, yes.
so. There's really not a penalty or anything like that. It's not a 5 year contract, just a 3 year contract with a 2 year option if either party exercises it.
I see the only winner. I see if Ransom win for 5 years, that's saving them money. That's not our problem. Like I said, with Mascara, we've always took the longest term because you're locked into that price. That's up to them. That can be their decision. If we get a 3 year contract with an option for 2 more years, I'm fine with that. If we hire a police officer and this falls true 3 years from now, we have to do what we have to do. Somebody's gonna get laid off. But, I just think I don't have a problem with this.
And when Clark's Green started, did you say it started at a 2 year?
We started with the 2 year contract and then, of course, when they renewed it.
Right.
Then the rates
went
went
up.
up higher, and so it was to our advantage. And that's why they said, well, we would like to do it for 5 years, and there was a percentage each year that it increased,
Right.
with the extra years and that, so, and they've been happy with that all the way through. so.
Clark Street is such a small geographic area.
Yeah,
And it's-
that part I understand, yeah.
Close to them, it's really
Exactly, yeah,
heavy lift.
Not
to
as
go up.
involved.
right, right. And maybe they wanna test the waters and see, are we gonna really back up what we're saying we're gonna do too, and.
Gary, I think they realized that we would do
Oh, yeah,
our due diligence. I don't think that's even a question.
oh, right, but,
I don't think that's a question.
yeah,
They know we're going to do it. Whatever the
Right.
contract calls for is going to be done by this borough. And, so I think that's sort of null and void right there.
and the policeman that would be assigned out there, his mother lives in Ransom, so. That's a big
connection.
plus, he knows the.
That does make them happy.
And he's a new hire too, so. The rate is a lot less too, so. That's another thing to consider, so. Just something to juggle around, and we just wanna make sure, we make a good decision.
Yeah, and then Chief Yarns will be here at the next meeting, so maybe he can have
Oh,
some,
yeah.
some
Exactly.
insight into.
Exactly, yeah. But it gives you something to, and think about, so. Okay. And I guess Newton Township Police Service, that's off the table now, is it?
Yeah, their last meeting, they entered into, they approved the contract with South Ave.
Okay, so.
So I don't think that, I don't know if it's been finalized with South Ave, exactly, but that's their position.
Okay. Oh, okay. And, senior center, check with Josh. Did Josh text you about that, Jen?
I just, no, I'm literally just stepping in here. there was no prep for this at all. I'm just reading the email that Josh
Okay,
sent to Virginia about,
This is about the county grant money.
no, I'm sorry. This is about,
This is.
oh, no, I'm so sorry. I was jumping into joint rep board.
Yeah, I think that's very.
replacement. I'm sorry, yeah, no, senior center, no, I do not know. Sorry,
Oh, no.
oh, but it says senior center question mark, so.
right.
I
Not-
kind of think I know he thought that there was gonna be someone here at our meeting tonight.
Oh,
I think it was Gordon Rosauer. That
Oh.
would like to fill in for June Burke.
oh, that I saw, that's Gary Rosman.
Or Gary Rosman.
So I just don't know what the difference of senior center check with Josh and the joint record
think-
replacement.
Well,
It
that's
was
what
to go
June-
together.
I think the senior
Burn,
center, didn't we have some county funds that we were gonna?
Yes.
We had to
Yeah,
find it,
yeah,
if that's
yeah.
for children, seniors, or economically
Okay.
disadvantaged people.
Right.
And I think
Right.
Josh suggested that they're talking about doing some renovation
Oh,
or
okay.
expansion. over at the
I remember
senior
that
center.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
right, okay,
So I have absolutely no other
but I-
information on that.
but I guess we could wait till next,
oh, sure,
Mhm.
and I think you just kind of fill us in if the senior center needed it.
right, yeah. Oh,
Gotcha, all right, good.
So next week, hopefully, he will be here and we can vote him on to our
Mhm.
board.
Well, that's the rec board.
That's the next one.
Yeah.
He comes with a recommendation from Josh.
Yeah, so that's, I think, the rec board stuff, but I read over that emails that was sent. It
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
so it was June Byrne is the current rec board member.
Right,
She's a little older, she's had some help.
Right.
Yeah.
And she has,
She hasn't made the meetings and all, and
I haven't seen her at church or anything.
yeah,
yeah,
but she's still on the board though, but there's gonna be somebody who's gonna be rotating off in June, and that's who we're hoping to replace, is that?
so.
yeah, that's what it looks like. Yep, and he's interested, Gary Rothman, so it would be a matter of voting him in. I just don't know
As an
when.
alternate, I think that was the phrase. we were-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Oh, sure.
so yeah, I guess we can put that on the agenda, to vote him as an alternate.
Yeah,
For
they
any
could do it,
rotation.
you do it in January, which is normal, what we usually do to vote somebody in, or early if June wants to step away.
Yeah, so put him as an alternate, and then if anybody retires or steps away, then he would automatically.
Yep.
fill it.
But for some reason, I think June is already stepped away.
Oh, did you? Oh, I don't know.
From what
Again,
I understand, but I could be wrong.
The
And
emails.
that they need someone, to fill in for her, and if that's the case.
Yeah, no,
That would be a good,
and if you guys remember, Gary, he came and interviewed for the council position.
I
I think
know.
he worked for Parks of the Park Service in New York City.
Yeah.
right,
Oh,
yeah.
Jerry, wouldn't June have to officially resign? I think not showing up at a meeting is not.
Well, she
That
probably
doesn't make
did
it
with the
official.
rec board,
We
yeah.
would have to get that in writing that you no longer.
Well, I
Yeah, I
imagine
haven't
Josh
seen
would have
anything
it.
that she's
So,
resigned or stepped
Mhm.
away. I
Until
know
that
they're having
comes
a problem with
across.
Forum, according to Josh.
Yeah. She hasn't-
But again, like, I think we've said, just not being there isn't a resignation,
Oh,
we would
right.
need something from her that says, and we can't
Definitely, yeah.
force her to resign either.
Mm.
Oh, no,
Of course,
no.
she's been on for a long time.
Yeah.
If it's done by those.
Okay, well, we'll check with Josh and see exactly what direction that is going in.
Yeah, excellent background on Gary. I
Yes,
remember
he did.
stood out,
Yes, he
yes.
did. Next item on our agenda is the, planning commission fee for Butler Sunoco.
Yeah.
This is an issue that I feel, no more than yourself, Jen. You do a lot of this work.
I'll tell you what,
Juggle it for one, then you're got, someone else will say, then juggle it for me.
I
It's a,
remember, now this is so many years ago, and this may have even been with CVS or somebody on the bigger scale.
yeah,
here's the problem. I don't know what the answer was to it, but I remember Lori Harris saying like what they would have to put up, because it's a certain amount, it's a certain amount, 300 plus a certain amount for square footage of the
Right.
property. So it may have been CBS and they probably had to put like 25,000 in, like,
Yeah.
it's just. I don't know where council wants to fall on this. So for their application fee, it looks like it's gonna be around $3,000. Now, that's just their fee to have the planning commission meet and decide. They don't have a formal application in, because number one, they need the fee. Also, I spoke with the gentleman who's the architect, and he's waiting for more information. They're having some issues with parking. Part of the problem is the parking there. That's
Sure.
one of the big issues there.
Mhm.
So they have to have an absolute agreement that they have whatever, I don't even know, 7 or 9 parking, it may have been 7 parking spots with 1 handicap, whatever it was. They're having an issue with that right now. They can't get that right this minute. They're working on it.
Sure.
This may be a non-issue, but if they do get an application in, do we require them to give us the $3,000 check for the application? That's the question.
Well, Jen, just from my own experience, so we have the planning commission.
Mhm.
The planning commission makes recommendations. They don't approve it.
Correct?
So, but they have a solicitor
Mhm.
and they have to review, they get all the drawings, they have to
Mhm.
do the saldo, which is like
Mhm.
the subdivision land development.
Right.
Or, and
Right?
they have to make sure all the paperwork they get is up to code on the.
Right.
site.
Mhm.
And you also have to have the borough engineer review some of the paperwork too, in cases sometimes, right? Or is that?
Now, you don't have to, but sometimes, it depends on what the planning commission is looking for. It depends on how much of a change is going to happen. So it's not a blanket, this is what has to be covered for every single one. It depends on the change that's gonna happen there. Where CVS was a humongous land change, this isn't going to be as big of a change. So there's gonna be maybe some less standards that have to be followed. That's where it's a little bit tricky.
And usually it's not done like in one meeting. I mean, a lot of times they'll have discussions, they'll be going back and forth, they'll try to get the paperwork right.
That has absolutely happened, and it's also happened where it's been taken care of. If they supply all of the information needed and the planning commission looks through everything and says, I think they have touched on, or we don't need this because it's not big enough to deal with this, whatever it might be, buffering areas, should be trees, there's a lot of things they're not gonna have to worry about. So it's not this box that everybody fits into, it depends.
And do we have to notice it and stuff like that? Is it for the planning commission?
Do we what now?
Do we notice it? Like, do we have to put public advertising out for, like, there was a meeting? Do we have to get a court reporter to take transcripts?
No, not for the planning, zoning we do, zoning. For planning commission, no, we have a meeting set up. It's the 3rd Wednesday if we get the application in time. So if we get the application by April 1st. Then we would have the meeting on the, I think it's the 20th, the 3rd Wednesday. If we don't get it by April 1st, it has to go to the next month. We have to see if we get the full application.
And it's so, when you're saying it's like it's a variable rate, like it really depends, each application is, you never know how much it's gonna
Because it's
cost.
based on square footage of the property.
But at the end of the day, obviously, we wanna make sure that the applicant pays for all the expenses. I mean, that's.
To make a complete application, they have to have the check. They have the plans
Sure.
now, like a rough, it's like a site plan, basically, where they show what land they own and what they're proposing. They write out what they're proposing, which is going from the garage to a garage / convenience store. So they have to give some of, they have a layout, basically. If it was approved, then they would go through the building inspection information, and they'd have to fill out all the paperwork for that. This would just basically say, yes, you're allowed to have this here, and yes, you have this amount of parking, and yes, you could do it
And how long have we had this payment schedule, like the way we've been doing this?
forever. Since,
Yeah.
way before since I was here.
And these folks are looking for us they want us to decrease the fee or waive the fee or
They,
something.
they were asking, could it be less?
Could be
That's what
300,000.
they did not give me They did not give a, no, they didn't give, you know, a number that they were looking for. They
Okay.
didn't give a number, so. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what they're looking for. If they're looking for a specific, they just said, is there any way that fee could be lessened? Was basically what was asked. What? We never got any word from them.
I mean, maybe, my gut is saying is we probably shouldn't change this like right now for this case. But maybe we could like look into it in the future and sort of maybe figure out, I think.
I think that's might be a good idea.
So we want to make sure that the borough's not going to be out any money on these
Exactly.
applications, but at the same time, we don't want people to be like.
Exactly, and I think that could be looked at.
See how maybe other municipalities do it and stuff.
Absolutely, I think that, yeah, I think that would work. In my opinion, anyway, with how much I've been dealing with it, so.
But they could pay this fee and then the planning commission could turn around and say, well, because you don't have this, or you don't have that.
If they don't have a complete application, then it won't be talked about, it wouldn't be discussed, they wouldn't have a meeting
Right,
unless there's, everything is
yeah,
applied.
well,
We'll see, honestly, we'll see.
exactly, we'll have to.
Don't
be
know, we
on
don't know if they're gonna be able to
hands
get enough
yeah.
information about the parking and all that.
Exactly.
We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so then we'll keep, well, I know you have to vote on it, but we'll be keeping the payment schedule the same. then.
But we could look into maybe it's, yeah.
Mhm,
license
Okay,
A little better.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And then we have our DPW and our police negotiation. When will we set up? Meeting with that?
There's again. Just Jen, Virginia fell, can you go to the meeting? So I don't have any,
I think Virginia was trying to say maybe in the next month or so, we should begin the process. 'Cause
Exactly, yeah.
with the contracts, I guess, will expire at the end of the year.
This year.
And if we
yeah.
don't have an agreement in place, then we have to go to
Right.
mediation with the police. I don't think the DPW is.
I know, that, I remember the last time with our negotiation. We did DPW first, everything went very smooth, no problems. They didn't expect anything other than what we proposed to give them and that, and then when we did the police, they said, well, DPW got this and DPW got that, so we want, our job is a lot, their job is not as dangerous as our job, you know, so then you're paying them like that, so, yeah.
We'll probably sooner than later start talking with them.
So I don't know if we're better off talking to the
Maybe
police.
police first, maybe that's what we'll do it this time.
Then, DPW after, you know, but. Did give Virginia authorization to hire a new treasurer.
yeah, a little glitch. Today, Virginia heard from Kathy Price, who is no longer interested.
Oh, she is not.
She's gonna take a different route, you know, she was retiring
Yeah.
and then, so she
She was a
decided
great
it might not be,
candidate.
oh, terrific, I know. So that was late this afternoon that Virginia told me that, so I don't know,
Okay.
you know, what the next, who the next.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah,
that,
there was.
right, just talked about this after late. this
Yeah,
afternoon.
we'll get with Virginia on that. Find out who she- I-
They were all outstanding.
And yes, and a gentleman that
Mhm.
did not work for less than 20 years.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, no, there was still some good candidates, so I'm sure she'll be getting in touch with the next person in line.
Hopefully, I guess when it's on the agenda for next month and for next week. and on that.
I'd like to be able to.
I know you guys are anxious to get them in.
We are.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a small office, so yeah, but Virginia's been keeping up with that part, you know,
Exactly.
so, yeah, doing great. So,
And then, a new officer, but,
Is that a part-time police officer or the full-time?
I wasn't sure on that, Jen, because we were under the impression that Eric was going to be going out on disability, retirement, or whatever. So I think that's why we were looking at filling that position, but
But he's back to work now, correct?
he's back, but he's not, he took a sick day Monday, personal day Tuesday. He's scheduled for Friday from, he's gonna do the night shift, 7 to 7. So, we don't know how it's gonna fall.
Yeah. Lay it out too.
But hopefully, you know, it'll all work out. So,
That,
other than that. we have a agenda.
Oh, and actually, one other thing, I got a call from the rail riders. Last summer, I know we did a Clark Summit Day at the baseball park. They gave us a day, August 18th at 1 o'clock. It's a Sunday. It's a family fun day discount on all these dipping dots and Mita ices and all this good stuff. So I can follow up with them and maybe try to get it.
Yeah.
Get some
Yeah.
people out there throwing the first pitch
Yeah,
again.
you never know.
No, would we have to vote on that or just,
Well,
it's
because-
just our decision?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we put it
Whoever
on
wants
the
to
agenda for the
go.
next meeting and just to say it's okay to go out there and advertise it.
Absolutely.
How many people did we get
called that last time?
Pardon me?
How many people did we get attending that?
I think we had 40 people. I think there was 40 tickets or so.
Wow.
So hopefully they do a little bit better. I enjoyed it. It was good.
I thought it was too.
My girl was gonna play that day.
Oh,
We didn't- The only
yeah.
reason we didn't make it. Yeah.
The weather was nice.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, August
Jen,
18th.
did
I wrote it down.
Virginia say why executive session is on the bottom of this? No.
No, if we wanted to go into
Yeah.
executive session.
but we don't.
No, I mean, I'm curious, you put it in there, so for some reason there was a reason, but I can't think of anything to go with, to talk about. Okay.
Yep,
Nope. Deemed we don't.
Yeah, we don't.
Nope,
We don't.
we're good.
That seems to be.
I'm sorry, I didn't have, but this is just kind of a short note.
That's okay. And you
I
just wanted
did wanna let council know that, this morning I called Virginia because there was a, from the governor about grants that's available to us. We didn't realize, but well, there is a tremendous grant for solar on the building, police, the fire. And, I said to Virginia, we'll go down. It was before 11, and, she was very happy with me. Chris Schaefer was there, the superintendent from the school, and also, Jim Wansack was there. He had ideas that we can do for the borough that he was actually involved in, you know? So we got a lot of information.
You said it was the solar lighting and also the crosswalks. Remember we talked about
Right.
like the lighting with solar
These are
lighting.
solar
So
lightings for
Virginia's
the
going back to
crosswalk.
get the information she had. Bradco, it was a company, they gave some kind of amount that it would be, so she's gonna see
Right.
what would be covered with that, so it's those two things.
That's nice because those crosswalks are expensive.
They are,
Oh,
and
definitely.
they're so terrific.
Plus those at one point.
Yes, yep, so she was gonna go back and get that. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so.
We're talking like what you're discussing there is, they have it at the University of Scranton.
Yes, that's where I
Right,
thought.
mean, they're-
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. You're.
Amazing,
Right.
absolutely amazing, and that's an issue here because a lot of people don't see
Right.
the person at the cross.
You don't.
That you
Right,
don't
yeah.
see
Yeah,
them,
without
so.
me using the legal speed. and not the court speed.
Here, so. Right, nope,
I
it's true.
see them.
It's
feel
true,
terrible.
you do,
Like, 'cause
you,
I'm like-
you do.
I'm like,
You have to do it.
Then she feels bad. No, it's true, so she'll be checking that. I don't think, looking
But those really help alert
I think they're fantastic. First time I
don't
saw
know.
that.
you.
I
Yeah. Doing the legal.
The company was.
Yeah.
Very cool. The university's right.
I don't know if it's the same one or not. She was asking it from someone. It's the first place I saw them. My daughter went to you, so yeah, I was amazed.
Yeah, and they were nice. And
Yeah.
Jenna,
You.
I also talked to Chris Schaefer about the students in the secretarial field at the school.
Oh, yes.
I said, they used to come to the borough here.
Yeah.
and Do the filing
Yeah.
and stuff, and then they would get credits for this and that.
Yeah.
And he said, absolutely, he said to Virginia, he said, give me a call, let me know.
Oh,
He said,
boy, that would be fantastic.
So I said, that would really help, you know,
There's so much that,
for filing. I
so
mean,
much
there's
time.
only so much time in a day. you
it's
can't
true
get it
to
all
do
done.
it, just, oh, it would be great though.
Go and tell his friends.
Oh, I'm telling you, there's so much. Oh, there's so much that could be filed a certain way to be, looked up at, but it's just the amount of time that we have,
Yeah.
I was going through stuff today, just getting rid of so many things that we don't need anymore or whatever it is, just trying to make room, because the papers just pile up, so.
And a lot of times too, students have the new ideas on
Mhm.
what to do instead of
Right.
having files and files and files.
That's
Instead, you
true.
can have them on, CDs or.
Mhm,
whatever,
yeah, they could be scanned in, they could be, there's a lot of
So,
options.
yeah,
a great
so
idea.
maybe
Yeah.
we could get up to date then.
I know, that would be
You know,
wonderful.
it would be.
That would be wonderful. Okay, great.
If I may, I'm one of the members of the FBLA Public School Leaders of America.
Oh,
And so I can, we have a meeting, I believe, this coming Tuesday in preparation for our states tournament, and I can bring it up then if, because one of the things along with that and National Honor Society, a lot of our members overlap. And so people are always looking for volunteer hours to sign off on for NHS, and so I can bring that up at that meeting.
That's right, that's right, that's right. Mhm.
and also, as I said, Mr. Schaefer said, absolutely,
Mhm.
we work with the borough and the school, so.
Great.
He said, definitely,
Okay.
anything you might be able to prod there that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll bring it up at the next meeting.
Sure. Thank you.
That's gonna be you felt. Meanwhile, Jen, we're struggling to get on YouTube. And he has like all.
Come on now. And we've got all the answers, right? From junior high school, that's what we need.
Yeah, oh, you'll only have to be here a couple minutes early,
Okay,
so we can do this.
yeah, okay.
I hear you. This year, yeah. I'm just giving this to you. This is Virginia's,
Okay,
phone number
perfect.
and, and direct phone number, so.
And I can't promise anything, but I will bring it up at the next meeting.
Sure,
Appreciate
Of course.
terrific.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think you'll be a good pick.
I hope so, thank you,
Oh, definitely.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, no, great.
That's it?
That's it?
That's it. We have a motion
Yep.
to adjourn.
Do we need one? 'Cause we're
You don't
discussing-
need one.
we don't
We're
need one.
neighbors.
But I love to say it's.
Right.
Ronnie, Okay. Bye, you
No, it's.
We're getting good at this. Hour.
I know. That's kind of a little longer. You're gonna have to